3, 2, 1.
Okay. Community project integrating technology with reading lesson by Miss Sarah Humphrey. Okay. Today we're going to be talking about problems with in Miss Harrison's classroom and how we can fix them through using technology, and then we're going to talk about like a particular reading lesson plan that incorporates technology. So a little class background information. Miss Harrison teaches 4th grade reading, math, and science, and in her classroom there's a lot of diversity. There are 4 ELL students, 1 special needs student, and 2 RTI students. Okay, student background. They're 4th grade, ages 10 to 11, and they're learning the subjects of reading, writing, math, and science. And Miss Harrison is our teacher for all the subjects. So the problem, like I said kind of a little bit earlier, the students in her classroom are struggling with reading proficiency, and that is evident in that over half the class are failing the bi-weekly reading and vocabulary comprehension test. And that's a big issue, and we're going to see why in the next slide. Okay, so literacy is very important, and here's just a few facts about why literacy is important. And so literacy allows people to communicate more effectively with one another. People need good literacy skills to thrive in a society. Literacy helps end the poverty cycle through the doors of education, so through literacy. And literacy also provides more educational and job opportunities. So it's very important that we fix the literacy issue with the students in Ms. Harrison's classroom so we can ensure that they have a good academic and job future. Okay, so my main solution to the reading and literacy problems facing Ms. Harrison students is technology. Technology is a great tool that we could incorporate in our classrooms to help reach diverse learners. Okay, so technology and education. There are some different forms of technology that we can use, and here's just a few examples, and I'm going to get in depth with these forms of technology and how I plan on incorporating them in the literacy aspect here in a few slides. Okay, so the first one is BrainPop ELL, and this is a software that helps ELL students learn English and grow in English proficiency. And ELL stands for English Language Learners. So this has placement tests, quizzes, and educational videos to help the student. And the teacher can also create lessons to fit the needs of that particular student with this software. And this will help Ms. Harrison's classroom greatly because they have 4 English language learner students. And in order to be better in literacy, you have to be able to have a basic foundation in English. And so that way we can help them grow stronger in their literacy skills as well. Okay, the second one is Light Sail software. And it could be downloaded via iTunes and other mobile applications, so the students are able to use their iPads for this. It has text out loud option for students. They can highlight and use online annotations. And this is a very cool software because it has assessments and different types of questions that you can use for your class, so the students can have like a class reading with this software, or they can read individually. It also has a virtual reward system for the students, so it like promotes and motivates reading and literacy, so it makes the students want to be engaged. Okay, so Wonderful Storybooks is also a great website. It's good for various age levels. It has picture and chapter books. It's interactive. They can do different activities within the story book that they're reading. It also has the voice text option for the students to be able to use. Like I said, they're all really good. There's multiple different types of softwares you can use, and these are just the 3 that I've picked to help with Ms. Harrison's classroom. Okay, so my lesson is called Integrating Technology with Reading Lesson Plan, and it's for grades level appropriateness is for 4th grade. Subject is reading and writing. The title is Visible Poetry, and the type of lesson is going to be a combination of lecture and project. So the lesson will be centered around poetry. The first few minutes will be discussing like famous free verse poems, watching an introduction video via BrainPop, and then we're going to have them use those softwares that I talked about previously to kind of figure out what poem they want to use and incorporate and make their own visible poetry. And so the objective of this lesson is for the students to be able to demonstrate their understanding of poetry through the creating of visual poems using technology. So here's just some basic materials: computers, iPads, BrainPop, Smartboard, YouTube, and then 2 different applications I mentioned earlier. So the curriculum it correlates to the Arkansas Common Core Standard 4I.4 4.7, which states that students should be able to interpret information presented visually, orally, or quantitatively, via charts, graphs, diagrams, etc., and explain how the information contributes to an understanding of the text in which it appears. So in this case, it would be the poetry. And this lesson also allows students to develop their skills as a knowledge constructor under the ISTE standards. So part 1 of the lesson, we're going to be using brain pop video basics of poetry, kind of get them, their feet wet in the lesson. And then I'm going to display some different poems, talk about it, discuss it, ask questions about different figurative devices and sound patterns. Fairly simple. And then I have a video that I displayed here. I'll have them watch a video about the project, which is called Visual Poetry, and how to make a visual poem, which I'm not going to play because it takes time, but here's the video. And then part 3, I'm going to put them in groups based on their, just academic, social standings, kind of like if they talk too much, don't put them in that group, that kind of thing. And then I'll have poems for them to choose from. They can search their own poems, kind of just get their feet wet a little bit too as well in this factor of this. And the goal is for them to make a visual representation of a poem. They can use words, make shaped words, just use just pictures, whatever they want to do, but it has to be based off a poem. And they'll have a few days to work on this in class as well. Excuse me. And so after they complete the visual imagery of the poem on their PowerPoint or Google Slides, there will be a presentation, and every student will have to speak in the presentation. And I'll grade them on 2 methods. So 1, Quizlet Live to make sure they understand the concepts of poetry and the basic understandings. And then 2, I'm going to actually use a rubric using the Ruby Star rubric generator for teachers, and kind of rate them on their quality and content of their presentation. And here's just one example of what the project would look like, an example of a student's visual poetry. And that's it for today. Thank you for listening.